Yo, what is going on everyone? Today I am bringing you a brand new video and it's going to be Football Manager 2016 experiments video. Now this is going to be a bit of a new series. I've obviously done some experiments in the past on the channel, but I'm actually going to be doing quite a specific one, and it's going to be interesting manager experiments. Now what I mean by that is maybe rival managers, but today we are focusing on Jurgen Klopp, and he is going to Arsenal to manage for 3 years. Let's see how he gets on in this video, and there's going to be a lot more of these kind of rival manager ideas in the future, but today we're focusing on Jurgen Klopp managing Arsenal. That's coming up in this video. Okay, so when we go to Arsenal, as you can see, it is the 1st of July 2015. Jurgen Klopp is in charge. Now I'm not going to talk through much right now because nothing has happened. This is literally the fresh save. I'm now going to skip a year into the future and see how he does in his first season in charge. Okay, so we're a year into the future. As you can see, it is the 1st of June 2016. The good news is Jurgen Klopp is in charge of Arsenal still, and as you can see in the top left, they finished second in the Premier League. Let's actually just take a quick look at the transfers though, see what he done in the first season in charge. Okay, so he made £65 million worth of signings and sold £25 million worth. He sold Callum Chambers to Chelsea, Gabriel to PSG, and then the rest are loan deals. But interestingly, he brought in Lucas Leiva, obviously of Liverpool, who he actually manages in real life. He brought in Juan, the centre-back from Inter Milan. He brought in Higuain for £41.5 million, and Anthony Martial, I think that's how you say his name, from Saint Etienne. So quite interesting signings. Obviously an 18-year-old goalkeeper. You're looking at Lucas about 29 years of age. Higuain's probably getting there as well. Yep, 28. And then Juan, I think he's quite young, yeah, 24 years of age. Let's take a look at how Arsenal done in the Premier League. Now, as you can see, they did finish second behind Manchester United. I'm not going to click on Man United because that is another experiment for another day. But obviously, they've done quite well. They lost quite a lot of the away games, also losing at home to Liverpool. Yes, come on, boys. Being a Liverpool fan, I've got to say that. They lost to the champions-elect Manchester United, and then the rest of the games were away match defeats. As for the draws, again, mainly, actually no, there's quite a few home games in there, and home games you should expect to win, like Crystal Palace, and obviously they should go and beat Swansea away, so maybe a few points cost them, but ultimately finishing 5 points behind United. They were well clear of Liverpool, who came 5th, so obviously they were well into that Champions League bracket. They were 5 points clear of Chelsea, and quite some way clear of Manchester City down in 4th. So if we take a look at the Arsenal team, who performed the best, Mesut Ozil, obviously, Alexis Sanchez again, but then the two centre-backs, Per Mertesacker and Laurent Koscielny, also getting high average match ratings. Aaron Ramsey, Higuain also proven to be a good buy, but then Olivier Giroud, look at that. If you compare the two goals, appearances and goals, 22 for Higuain and 12 goals, 32, 13 of which are substitute appearances, and Olivier Giroud netted 23 times. That's actually pretty impressive. Petr Cech having a big schedule, 47 games and once as a substitute. That's quite interesting. Who played the most games? Well, it's Mesut Ozil, 57 games in the season. That's absolutely outstanding. Let's take a look at their other competitions. Okay, so as for the Champions League, we've also got the friendlies in here. Ignore them, but in the group stage, they pretty much won every game except for away against PSG. That's a very impressive record. Then they drew Lyon. Oh, that's not too bad in the first knockout round, beating them comfortably, but then they drew Manchester City, losing away and only managing a draw at home in the quarterfinals, and were obviously then eliminated from the competition. Let's take a look at the domestic cups and see how they've done in them. Okay, so as you can see, they started the season with a 1-0 win against Chelsea in the Community Shield. So a nice bit of silverware for Jurgen Klopp to start his career with. And then moving into the Capital One Cup, they drew Tottenham and they beat them 2-1 home. And then they had West Ham, but the scoreline was reversed. It was a 2-1 defeat in the 4th round of the Capital One Cup. Now something's straight away drawn in my eye. They actually won the FA Cup, beating Everton in the final. And it's not too easy of a run. As you can see, they had Liverpool away at Anfield and beat them 3-0. So Klopp beating his actual team. They then beat Shrewsbury at home in the 4th round. They went to Burnley and won in the 5th round. They then drew Manchester United at home, but then actually went and beat them away on penalties in the replay. They then had Chelsea, obviously at Wembley in the semi-final, beating them 2-0, and then beating Everton 2-1 in the final, which makes it 3 FA Cups in a row for Arsenal, if I'm not mistaken. I'll just take a quick look. Yep, 3 FA Cups in a row for Arsenal. That's quite impressive. Let's just go and see a few more things that Jurgen Klopp done in his first season. Okay, so we're now actually going to go forward another season and see how Jurgen Klopp does in his second season in charge of Arsenal. Okay, so we are now 1st of June 2017. Let's just check if Jurgen Klopp is still in charge of Arsenal. That'll be a good start. We'll just go and see if that is the case, and then we'll take a bit more of a detailed look. Okay, so as you can see, Jurgen Klopp is still in charge of Arsenal, and as you can see, the Premier League, they had a bit of a decline. They came 3rd, but it's still pretty impressive for Arsenal. Let's take a look at the transfers and then go into the competitions. Okay, so this year, rather than the 65 million, he spent 95 million on transfers, did Jurgen Klopp, bringing in this fella from Napoli, Fruzi Gulam. I've never really heard of him, to be honest. He's a left back from Napoli, 18.75 million pounds. Then he brought in Isco. That's not a bad deal for Isco. 22.5 million pounds, obviously from Real Madrid. Yeah, so that's a regen. 17 years of age. You've got Kyriakos Papadopoulos, the centre back, obviously. He has actually moved on. I just clicked on him. Yep, he's moved on to Atletico. I don't know if that's going to be on a loan or what, but he spent 10.5 million pounds on him. He also brought in Rafinha from Barcelona for 23 million pounds. Obviously, the centre attacker mid, who is now 24. And then another player from Napoli as centre-back and centre defensive mid. Obviously, as you can see, at 22 years of age. Brought him in for 19.5 million pounds. Let's take a look at the outs. Any to really note? We'll sort it by the fee. The fee is not sorting very well. There we go. So he sold Nacho Monreal. He also sold Papadopoulos, as I said, taking a £3.25 million loss on him. He also sold Joel Campbell. He also sold Carl Jenkinson. And there was actually a few free players leaving to note. Flamini, Arteta and Rziski all leaving on free deals in the summer. And Wellington Silva, probably another one that you may want to note. Sonogo. And yeah, that's pretty much it. They're leaving on loans though, them two. So as for transfers, nothing too outrageous. Obviously a large amount of money spent, but no real key players to note. Let's see how they've done in their competitions. So in the Premier League, as you can see, 80 points, which was actually, no, it wasn't as good as last year. Just trying to think back then. But as you can see, the champions from last year, Manchester United, finished 5th. Arsenal actually did finish 3rd. 13 points off the leaders, Chelsea. Absolute amazing season for them. But they did actually lose to Arsenal, so Jurgen Klopp defeating the champions. Manchester City, 4th last year, I believe. 2nd this year. Liverpool, again, not getting there, really. Let's just see which teams came up. So you've got Ipswich, you've got Hull, and you have Burnley. They were the teams that came up. One thing to note, Gonzalo Higuain, 2nd top scorer with 22 goals. But obviously Dybala, who's obviously moved to Chelsea, he was the highest scorer and obviously winning Chelsea the league. Let's now go and take a look at Arsenal's other competitions. So we're going to take a look at Arsenal in the Champions League this season. Starts off with a 3-0 heavy defeat away against AC Milan. It's Inter Milan. Come on, let's get that right. Inter Milan. Then they win at home against Monaco. They drew away against Atletico. They win at home against Atletico. They draw at home against Inter Milan. And then they lose. Oh no, sorry, they draw again. I'm not too sure how they managed to get out of that group. How many points would they have had? They would have had 9 points. Let's just take a look at that group if we can. We're going to go to group stages. They were Group F, weren't they? They actually topped the group with that record, which is quite surprising. And Inter Milan, who thrashed them, actually finished bottom. That's a very tight group though. 3 points separating first and last. Very tight. Arsenal probably quite lucky to get through that. And then they actually drew Leverkusen in the first knockout round and got beat home and away and straight out of that competition. But one thing I do want to note is when I just went on to that then, if you go to the final's not been played, but Bayer Leverkusen are in that final against Bayern Munich. So obviously Leverkusen are having a fantastic season. Let's take a look at the domestic competitions now for Arsenal and Jurgen Klopp. Okay, so this time around they didn't win the Community Shield, obviously losing 2-1 as you can see there to Manchester United at Wembley. Pretty disappointing, I'd imagine that would be. Obviously United had a good season, as you can see over here. Ozil takes the lead, but United go and get 2 goals and they go on to win the competition. In the Capital One Cup, as you can see, they won all the games except for the second leg. Obviously quite a nice run actually as I come to look at it. Burnley, nice 3-2 victory. They should be doing better than that though, even though Burnley are actually a Premier League side this season. Newcastle away, 3-0, comfortable. Ipswich at home, again, 3-0, comfortable. Then they went away to Liverpool in the first leg of this Capital One Cup semi-finals. And as you can see, there was 2 red cards in the game, but Arsenal did win 2-1, Jurgen Klopp against his actual side. And then, as you can see, goes back to the Emirates and Arsenal draw, which means they do go through on aggregate. And as you can see in the final, they go and beat Manchester City on penalties. City actually get reduced to 10 men in the 92nd minute, so obviously just after extra time. But yeah, Arsenal took the lead, City got it back, and then Arsenal equalised pretty much straight after, and then went on to win on penalties, so another piece of silverware for Jurgen Klopp and Arsenal. As for the FA Cup, it looks like one to forget. They drew Scunthorpe, which they beat quite comfortably. Then they drew Tottenham at home, which was a 2-2 draw, went to the replay in the 4th round, and they did go out 2-1. Pretty disappointing stuff there for Jurgen Klopp, but he did actually manage to get the piece of silverware and 3rd in the league, so not a bad season overall. Let's jump one more year into the future in Jurgen Klopp's final season in charge and see how he does. Okay, so it's now the 1st of June 2018, and the big thing to note is, if you look in the available jobs, Arsenal is available, so Jurgen Klopp has either moved clubs or been sacked. Let's go and take a look at what went on. Okay, so as you can see, current manager, none. We're just going to actually take a look to see if Jurgen Klopp was actually the last manager, and the reason for his departure, because he may have got sacked earlier on in the season and another manager come in and left. We're going to take a look. No, he was actually sacked, to be fair. Okay, so transfer wise, not as big spending this season. He did bring in the young centre mid type thing, William Carvalho. I'm not too sure you say his name, but obviously 26 years of age, centre defensive mid, £36.5 million, quite a big signing. And then this lad from Roma for £17 million. And he actually shipped out £28.35 million. Let's just see if there's any notable transfers. So Jack Wilshere left for Barcelona for only £8 million. It's quite a big signing that actually. Szczesny also leaving, and a few more signings that you don't really need to go into too much detail. Let's take a look at the schedule and see where everything went wrong for Jurgen Klopp. Before we do take a look at the schedule though, we're just going to look at the league. Chelsea winning it again, but only on goal difference to Tottenham. Manchester City coming 3rd. Arsenal a point behind them in 4th. And United a point behind them in 5th. And then a huge gap of 16 points back to Liverpool in 6th. I'm not too sure why Klopp's been sacked really. Actually, that kind of says a lot. 10 defeats compared to everyone else around them. That's pretty poor, to be fair. We'll take a look at the other competitions and see exactly why this happened. Okay, so Jurgen Klopp had an impressive Champions League group stage with quite a tough group. They had Ajax, Sparta Prague and Juventus, and he won every single game in the group. That's impressive, especially with Juventus being in that group. They won 1-0 away, Oxlade-Chamberlain, 3-0 home. That's pretty impressive. Then they drew Bayern Munich, which is pretty unfortunate for them. They drew away, but then they lost on penalties at home and went out in the first knockout stage. That's pretty disappointing, obviously. But let's just take a look at the rest of the competitions and see what went wrong. Okay, so the Capital One Cup, again, one to forget. Even though he won it last season, they drew Leicester at home in the 3rd round and went out on penalties. That's disappointing. Let's just check if Leicester is still a Premier League team. They may not be. Yeah, they are, but they did actually get relegated this season, so obviously very disappointing. Then for the FA Cup, a heavy win against Crewe, 7-0 at home, and obviously that doesn't look like a first team to me. Then they beat Tottenham 3-0 at home, again that's quite impressive. Bournemouth 3-0 away, Watford 4-1 away. Watford had a good season, I think they finished 7th in the Premier League. But then the semi-final, they do actually go on to lose, despite going a goal in front. This kind of seems to be a bit of a theme over the years. They do then go and lose 2-1 to Chelsea in the FA Cup semi-final at Wembley. So obviously Jurgen Klopp's being sacked from Arsenal, probably due to the amount of defeats in the Premier League, the poor Champions League performances over the years really, and obviously the poor domestic performances this season in terms of the cups. you know, first round of the Capital One Cup for them, and the FA Cup semi-final, going a goal ahead and actually going on to lose. So ultimately, Jurgen Klopp gets sacked before his 3-year contract is out of time. But that is all for this video. If you have enjoyed this type of video, do let me know. Drop a like on the video. Obviously, there's going to be a lot more of these videos to come because I've got a whole list of managers I've done, and it's all in the same save. I'm actually going to show you a quick preview of who is next, but I'm going to go back to the first season so nothing gets spoiled for you guys, but I'm going to go and quickly do that right now. Okay, so here is the next experiment that I will be doing on screen for you guys right now. As you can see, it is Carlos Puyol. He is at Barcelona. He's going to be having 3 years as well, just like Jurgen Klopp. That will be the next experiment. We'll see how that goes. But that is all. Thank you all for watching. Drop a like, comment, subscribe. It is always much appreciated, guys. Until next time, goodbye.